I've just been waiting for it to stop raining for days and days and days. And well, today was supposed to be quite a reasonable day, but in reality, it stayed raining till about midday. So I've got out in the afternoon and make the most of a bit of sunshine. And it looks like more rain in the weekend to come. And if I look at the longer term forecast, it's looking like snow and ice. So don't know, need to make the most of this island of reasonable weather. Well, the plot has been subject to the worst wind I've known so far for this year, and certainly for a little while. I'll show you around. So I had a delivery of manure which has filled the bays up quite considerably. Let me show you my lattice work. So I've been trying to work out ways of accommodating more of this horse manure as it gets delivered more frequently at this time of year. I need to keep on top of where I'm going to put it. And I fashioned these lattice style fences from, well, featherboard and just some odd sticks and bits of wood. And that enabled me to get that extra bit of height on top of the beds. So really pleased with that, and I filled them up pretty much. The M1 was just a bit shy of topped up, but they certainly took the whole delivery. And looking at them, since I put that in, they've definitely lowered already. So let's have a look at temperature. Now these were about 20 degrees C and they're now 30 degrees C. So that extra bit of volume really helps in terms of getting the heat up. So I think I'll end up putting the next delivery on top of this. And I sort of prepared these two, well, pallet containers for any excess that I couldn't accommodate. And I just need to modify this a little bit. I've been thinking about this area, and I definitely want to put some more compost holding bays of some description down here, but I've had a bit of an idea which I'll show you a bit later. But what I must do is keep the wheelbarrow width here rather than cause myself a bit of a jam. So that's that. The broccoli has taken an absolute bashing, so I definitely got on my agenda to tie that up, and I need to do it more securely because it's getting knocked down on a regular basis in this wind. And certainly the other one, which I'll show you, it's around here. This bed, which I put the purple sprout and broccoli in first, it's just been pretty massacred. I had two that got really damaged by the frost, but I need to sort out these remaining ones and probably take those out. And then down here, I definitely need to take these out. They're looking pretty forlorn, to be honest. And I've got a cabbage to take home. So the other day I moved these IBC tanks with the help of my neighbour Adrian. And when I've been thinking about it, it was good to be able to see the space that I've got here and start to work out what I need to do. But I sort of came to the conclusion the first thing I need to do is to set these in place. And to do that, I'm going to need to level this ground, which of course means moving them. So I'm thinking that the width of two of them is probably going to go from that edge to about just short of where that one is at the moment. So in reality, I only need to move this one out of the way and then level my space. So I think I'm going to roll it back onto this area I've prepped and get this level. So that's in the offing, and I'm committed to putting some sort of membrane down because I think I'll just get growth coming up in and around those tanks if I don't. So got a big job of work to do there. As I say, those are coming out. There's quite a lot of tidying up to do here, and I brought a lot of the compost over but didn't spread it, and I really want to get it spread now, so that's on my agenda. There's an awful lot of general tidying up, things that are playing on my mind to get done that I think I'm going to try and crack on with today. And one of them is the last few buckets of compost from my old compost area. I am going to take a little bit off the surface, I think, but I put a couple of buckets down here ready just to accommodate this last little bit. Right, one other job. In the polytunnel, I've been thinking a lot about strawberries. And this is the time of year that I normally get my strawberries into their baskets and just let them sit at ground level so they don't get any frost damage if we get a hard frost in the polytunnel. But I've been thinking about watering, and this year I'm going to try and solve my watering challenges and have it really very low maintenance, so a solar watering system into this bed. And therefore I don't really want to be thinking about hanging baskets, because that's a whole new watering challenge. So I've been thinking that I might grow strawberries outside this year, and I've got the perfect place. It's funny when you sort of lie in bed or you sit at home thinking about what you're going to do, and then suddenly it pops into your head. So this is perfect. The fence that I built out of logs has, of course, a membrane surface under it, so that's pretty good for keeping away slugs and insects. And then on top I rolled a load of membrane, and I think what I'm going to do is roll that membrane back out to the base of the raspberries, put holes into it and plant my strawberries so that they grow over the fence. I think that'd be a really good combination, and it's a good sunny area this. So yeah, I'm thinking that strawberries this year, for the first time in a little while, might be grown outside. I think I'm going to enjoy doing that. It's going to be different. So, fingers crossed. Right, first things first. I left this in a real mess the other day when I was doing the sowing of the onions. So I'm going to just clear up, lift these sticks up, which I tripped over quite a lot, as you may well have seen. And then I'll lift these pavers quickly, sweep up and get the soil that I spilt into the bed. That's the plan anyway. Well, that got me warmed up for sure. Most people pick up rugs and mats to clean. I pick up paving stones. That's the way it is on the allotment. Right, so this area, I'm really looking for some compost to put in this. So anything that I have spare or want to move, that's where it's heading. Right, outside while I'm warm. Well, it's such a shame when produce that you've grown gets wrecked, but the winds really have been super high, and of course that cold weather we had was also damaging to a lot of vegetables. So there really isn't very much that's salvageable from these. I am going to keep the heads, and we might well cook with them. Got a bit of string which I'm going to use to help tie the others. And these stems, they're slimy where they got hit so hard by the cold. Right, this one's coming out as well. And the middle of that is complete mush. So that ain't going anywhere. In fact, God, there's a real odour from it. You know, that, well, rotting cabbage smell. Makes perfect sense really. Right, let's get that one stood back up. And I don't know how much longer I could keep standing these up successfully. I'm trying to get a fixing on them, but it's quite difficult because you don't want to just crush the leaves. But on the other hand, unless you get in amongst them, it just slips down the pole. So this is tied with 2 now, and hopefully it will bear a little bit of wind over the coming weeks and months. There's a good head in that one. Right, this one's lost its stake. In fact, the stake is absolutely had it, so I'll use one of these other stakes for now and just bring the string up. Right, well I'm going to carry on doing this because it's not very entertaining, just necessary, and we'll see if we can get straight, and then I'll push the compost that I've put on here across. Right, let's get on. Well, that looks better, and that one looks a lot better. I had a bit of a mishap with this one. It's just surprising how wet and claggy that compost is, and a bit too much leverage on my second fork, and it snapped at the top of the metal brace. So, don't know, sometimes it's dearer to buy a handle and a lot more hassle than just replacing it with a fairly average fork. We'll have to see, do a bit of research. Right, I think this one's next. Same thing, that cabbage has virtually had it. I'll take the middle home and then get a bit of a clean up around the bottom of this kale, which is looking fine still. Get rid of the leaves and then spread that as well, and I should be in pretty good order then. Well, that is so much better over there now. I'm just going to spend 10 minutes sorting out the various bits and bobs here for the compost bin, and they'll be going into my ongoing homemade compost, which I'm beginning to think there'll come a time when I need to put horse manure on top, just because I need the space. But for now, I'm going to carry on adding. Well, that was satisfying, putting all that greenery straight into the compost bins. Right, let's get these last bits of compost out of here and into this wheelbarrow and pots. Now, what I am going to do is see what I can get from the floor, because this area has been having compost on it now for probably 3 years, maybe 2, but certainly had lots of time before then when I've used it as an area for gathering plants and various bits and bobs. So I'm reckoning that the ground is pretty darn good for adding to my plot and won't be missed by the incoming owner, I'm sure. Right, there we are, just a little bit is nearly filled the barrow, so there's certainly a few bits to get from down here, I reckon, which is good stuff. Right, on with the buckets. Well, it's pretty amazing. This is the compost area that just keeps on giving. So I've got half a barrow there and 6 buckets to clear out this area. And to be honest, there's still plenty of compost around here. So I'm sure I'll be back in here again just to scoop up anything that's good. But for now, I think I'm going to put that barrow into the polytunnel and these 6 outside with the other pots. That'll give me some options. I've got some plans. I want to try and grow some celeriac in a pot, and there's that Swede competition that you might have heard about. I'm wondering whether some of this stuff will grow a big Swede. We'll see. Well, I feel like I've had a workout now, but I did promise you that I was going to show you what I think I'm going to do in this area. So, with no further ado, I'll start. What I really like about this idea is that it uses everything I've got and nothing needs to be obtained. And that's a good thing, because I'm clearing out those areas and some of these things have got to move. So, I'll show you. Yeah, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these composters, which I haven't really used in the past, but they make a good edge to my plot, and they'll be really useful for putting the horse manure in that just won't fit into those. And then, well, I can work out how I lay it out. I think I'm going to put some membrane down so I don't get loads of weed growth and grass growth underneath, and then straighten them up. Yeah, they should serve me well. That's my plan for the short term. Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you did, why not like and subscribe? And if you want my uploads every Wednesday and every Sunday at 8 p.m, good times.